Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Parenthood. If you are new here, this is a space for real parents, real stories, and the messy, beautiful, sometimes overwhelming experience of raising children while also raising ourselves. Parenthood stretches us, it humbles us, it forces us to rethink who we are, and sometimes it demands that we become advocates, students, storytellers, all at once. In today's episode, I'm joined by Ashiish V Patil, storyteller, husband of 25 years, partner of 34 years, including dating, which honestly deserves a separate episode, and most importantly, father to Risshan, born in 2005, diagnosed with autism and moderate ADHD. Ashish is someone who brings humor and heart into serious conversations. He speaks about parenting not as a checklist, but as a lived, evolving journey. Ashish, welcome to Parenthood.
Hey, hi, Neha. Thank you so much for that very, very kind introduction. After an introduction, pura performance pressure आ गया है. With an introduction like that, like I can't wait to hear what I have to say. So slow down.
So let's begin with you. If you had to describe yourself in three words or phrases, not as a father, not as a husband, but just as a human being, what would they be?
यार जब भी कोई मुझे बोलता है ना इंट्रोड्यूस योर सेल्फ आई फील लाइक वैसे एक डिस्क्लेमर लगाना चाहिए कि आधा महाराष्ट्रियन आधा गुजराती पूरा पागल so I think if I had to use three words really or a phrase I would probably say work in progress
Mm-hmm.
or work in progress pretending to be a grown up I think that's broadly what I would say and I think कई बार अपनी आइडेंटिटी इतनी अपने काम से जुड़ी हुई है and that's the default usually that happens so I think you've introduced me far better which is the whole storytelling side so just storyteller writer autism dad by the way late diagnosed autistic myself
Uh-huh.
I'm terrible at sports I'm very socially awkward I'm vegetarian I'm a teetotaler I'm proudly boring at parties but yeah, I think yeah, work in progress probably is pretending to be a grown up is probably a good way to kind of capture me and the most honestly the most accurate introduction is what you said. I'm Rishan's dad, and I
Yeah.
think that role actually just rewrote everything else.
Yeah. It's so strange to hear you say I'm Rishan's dad because I am Rishan's mom. So, but different Rishan though.
Yes, yeah. Let's be clear.
So it's like suddenly I'm like, oh my God, who is this Rishan's dad?
क्या आपके बाएं कंधे पे तिल है? So
Yeah. But tell me about Sheetal. You've been with her for 34 years and that's not small. Who is she beyond being your wife? Who's she as a partner, as a mother?
Well, I mean, my wife's name is Sheetal. She's the sensible one, so which automatically makes me the entertainment department. And childhood sweetheart, like you said, we were dating for 9 years, and college में बहुत जल्दी पकड़ लिया मैंने उसको बेचारी फंस गई. And then we've been married like 25 years. So, and she's a chartered accountant and Gujarati, so it's a lethal combination. आप salary slip ले आओ तो audit हो जाती है. She's an autism mom, and I think that also what that does is it makes you like a multi hyphenate. So she's a therapist, she's a coach, she's a counselor, she's the wolf of Dalal Street, she's an emotional stabilizer. She's actually someone who lands up literally training teachers, counseling people. She's helped train so many folks. While I am busy overthinking life, she's actually busy running it. And I
Wow.
think I think एक फंडामेंटल रूल होना चाहिए कि हर स्लाइटली मैड क्रिएटिव आदमी को ना एक डेंजरसली सॉर्टेड सीए बीवी मिलनी चाहिए
Yeah,
बिकॉज यू एक
vice
वो रूल होना
versa.
चाहिए तो
Vice versa.
because you realize that parenting is not it's never 50-50
Yeah.
it's actually like those wrestling tag team matches कि बॉस मेरा हो गया तू अंदर and then you tag and the next person comes and says, I got this मैं तोड़ती हूँ so I think that's her and it's great we're very different as people she loves to travel I would be happy not getting out of my room just sitting in there with a book she wants adventure sports she wants to go trekking and climbing and I want a foot spa so we're very different people but I think the core values are the same I think
Yeah.
fundamentally and I realize that I think relationships often based on common interests cock up because interests change
Yeah.
over a period of time. But I think those fundamentals remain the same. And if you're good being bored together,
Hmm.
वो बहुत लोग ज्यादा वो आई थिंक हमारी फिल्मों ने भी ना आई कम फ्रॉम दैट वर्ल्ड सो आई एम पार्शियली टू ब्लेम दैट rom-coms have destroyed relationships because of that. You're constantly seeking that excitement. You're seeking for you're never happy. They
Yeah.
create that accentuate that. And I think वो साथ में बोर होने में जो प्यार है और जो मजा है ना I don't want to be that crazy ass lazy boy massage chair. I want to be the comfortable rajai for you. I think that
Oh.
that probably is yeah how I'd probably play out as a tag team how we play out with each other. And अब तक झेल रही है बेचारी मुझे so I maybe I'm doing something right.
Yeah, yeah. And tell us about Rishan. Who is he? What would you want someone listening to know about him, beyond his diagnosis labels?
I mean what I don't know what's the best way to articulate or talk about Rish. I mean, Rishan is his life, in that sense, as is often the case for parents, right? Rishan is he's 20 now,
Yeah.
so he's an inch taller than I am now, inch and a half, as a matter of fact, and it's worked out really well because he doesn't fit into my clothes anymore, but I fit into all his clothes, right? So my wardrobe just got cooler, so that's worked out well, and he's a unlike most people on the spectrum where the challenge is social or they tend to be by themselves. Rishan is the exact opposite. He
Hmm.
loves socializing. He just
Yeah.
doesn't have the skill to be social. And so he's a really bright boy. His problems are not in the classroom. His problems are on the playground. But वो कहते हैं ना यार, भगवान एक दरवाजा बंद करता है ना तो वो 50 खिड़की खोल देता है. So I think that's what's happened with him. And so fortunately, he found his calling very early in life because otherwise, most of us, like this famous pop poet, philosopher, guru Bono said, I still haven't found what I was looking for. Rishan found it very early. So
Hmm.
गाना और खाना ये इसकी दो चीजें. So I think he found that very early. Or fortunately, बाप extra curricular आदमी है.
Hmm.
So I could also really, kind of nurture that, capture that really well. So I think those are the two things that really motivate him: good food and music.
Yeah.
And he found that very early on. He's very musical. Music is his tool to process emotion, to express emotions, to connect with people, to deal with anxiety, which is a lot in his case, social anxiety, all of that. So that's his coping mechanism with things. And like I said, fortunately, मतलब 10-15 खिड़कियां खुल गई हैं तो he's not in that rat race. Like most of my friends are empty nesters. These are people who are now, who got kids writing essays to apply to universities overseas and अच्छे नंबर लाओ अच्छी नौकरी मिलेगी. Rishan is not in that race.
Yeah.
So I think the goal for him is to find a way to make life be something which he's meaningfully occupied with.
Yeah.
So and gain some independence, that kind of thing. So fortunately with music, one is hoping to nurture that, and that's what we've been focusing on. So be it exposing him to all kinds of music, because I love music, so that's what I've done for a very large chunk of my career across MTV and whatever else, right? So exposing him to a lot of music, giving him the access to learn so much music, to give him a chance to perform all of that, and that's what gives him a lot of confidence. That's what I think. So those are things which are great for him beyond his diagnosis. It's also, you know, he's my best teacher. नेहा वो हर रोज कुछ सिखाता है यार. और सिखाता है नॉट लाइक बैठ के लाइक दिखाता है देखिए यार ऑनेस्टली हम सबकी लाइफ में जरूरत इतनी कम है ना. लाइक आई सीन हिम लाइक स्पेंड 30 minutes playing with one pigeon's feather.
Hmm.
He was just like lost, just happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just so beautiful, to see stuff like that. And he's not someone, and no matter how much we say we are inclusive and all of that, we all tend to be judgmental.
Yeah.
वो बिल्कुल नहीं है. Rishan will never judge anyone on the basis of their looks, their clothes, their accent, their social economic status. None of that. He
Hmm.
will only be reacting to people based on how they treat him.
Yeah.
That's it. Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, एक बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइफ स्किल है जो उसके पास है ही नहीं. उसको
Hmm.
झूठ बोलना नहीं आता.
Hmm.
Which is important at times. Like if his mom asks him, "Am I looking fat?" He'll say, "Yeah." It's like, boss, तू पिटेगा, तू पागल है क्या? Or like even with me, like hey, listen, can I kiss you? No, your mouth is stinking. He'll just say that to your face, and I love that. like if I remember we did this song and this music video with a friend, very popular composer singer called Vishal Dadlani, and Vishal's bald. All right, so we did this music video with Vishal, and Risshan was in this band called Six Pack Band, which was a band of six autistic kids, or neurodivergent kids. And the first time we met Vishal, he's like, "You look like Baba Sehgal." And Dadlani was just cracking up laughing. So every time we exchange messages, he sent some random rap for Risham is a thanda thanda pani. He was like usko bolna Manjula ne hai bola hai. So it's random shit. So I think those are such beautiful things about Rishan, which I love. Of course, it comes with its own set of challenges, which is like a sensory overload and all of that. But that's life. As long as the balance is skewed in the good shit,
Yeah.
and you know how to deal with the bad shit, you're good. And that's what he
Yeah.
teaches you. So yeah, it's great.
Uh, I wanted to ask you, when did you first sense that something might be different? And how did you receive the diagnosis of autism and ADHD?
Uh, you know, I think this was at about age 2, sometime in 2007. And as is often the case, no? The mom tends to catch things first. So she spotted, and I'm a single child. Rishan is also an only child. Sheetal, my wife, of course, grew up in a very large family, like I said. मतलब हमारी शादी में 1500 लोग थे. मेरी तरफ से 42 थे उसमें से, which included my office gang. And they were like, dude, like, who are these people? Why am I paying for their food? That kind of thing. So she's been used to being around people, and so she could spot that there's something different, if not off. If Rishan went to play school or if he was with other kids, that, oh, he's not mingling, or he's, hyper focused on just the wheel of the car versus the car. His play time is different. And I would tend to be like, hey, nani, you're overreacting. Arey, kuch nahi hai. He's just two, dude. Like,
Yeah.
chill, it'll be fine. And she said, no, you go observe, you do that. So I think she insisted that I go to a few of his, like play group sessions and things like that in play school, etc. And then I realized what she meant. And that's when, at about 2.5, we went and consulted a few specialists. And that's when they kind of introduced us to the term. This is like mid 2000, right? 2007-ish, etc., where awareness was fairly limited. It still is. It's much better than where we were 20 years back, but it was still like, so the phrase autism was like, huh? Okay. My exposure was Rain Man. तो मुझे लगा अरे बॉस लॉटरी, अभी तो इसको कसिनो में सूट पहन के ले जाऊंगा, लॉटरी जीतूंगा. लाइक गधे, इट डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट. So I think that's when we kind of diagnosed, that's when we figured out things are different. And you know I think initially for me it was just denial, it was confusion, it was fear. And I think I pretty much ran away. मैं काम, I use work as a distraction, or as a, honestly, more than distraction. I think I use that to hide.
Yeah.
And it's not something I'm very proud of. Maybe that was my coping mechanism, but no excuses for that. So I kind of ran away from that. And I think वो क्या होता है, वो acceptance भी ना, नेहा, वो it doesn't come ऐसा light switch ना कि मुंशी जी आपने मेरी आंखें खोल दी. It comes slowly. It comes very quietly. And I think that's what happened over a period of time. And I think I guess Rishan showed us and me specifically a few things aside, a few sides of life and a few sides of myself which I would have never seen, heard, understood, experienced if not for autism. And I guess now one is at that phase where it's no longer about acceptance, it's now about celebration. Like, I wouldn't change this for anything else. I would have been a very different, if not a very selfish person, if not for Ishan. So I think that's essentially what happened. और वो यार, वो acceptance ना surrender नहीं होता. लोगों को लगता है वो it's clarity. और अब एक बार वो reality से आप झगड़ना बंद कर दो ना, तब आप अपने आप को या जिसको भी जरूरत है उसको help कर सकते हो. So I think that's, once you have to stop fighting reality.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. About 2.5 is the first diagnosis, and then it's been a journey.
Yeah. And in that journey, was there ever a moment when you felt overwhelmed or helpless?
the time. It still happens, all the time. I mean, that's the thing with parenting, right? So, I mean, it's exhausting, and autism tends to kind of take away your life. You know, I think what happens with autism, na, Neha, is also it doesn't just affect the child. वो क्या होता है आपको पूरा रिवायर कर देता है वो आपको पूरा ऐसा अनपैक कर देता है and then it rewires you. It re-architects the whole family. And also what happens is autism marriages are not easy. I mean, it takes away your schedules, it takes away your energy, it takes away your emotions. It's exhausting, but it's also extraordinary. It gives your life a kind of depth, a kind of meaning which you never planned for. मतलब it'll give you a chance to grow जो comfort कभी नहीं देगा आपको. I mean, anything good ना lies on the other side of discomfort ना. So I think ये करता है, but of course there are often enough moments where और क्या है वो autism parent की टेंशन थोड़ी अलग होती है. Everyone always wants their child to be, settled, happy, successful, etc. बट एक वो जो होता है ना कि ये अपने इसके पैर पे खड़ा हो जाएगा अब ये दौड़ लेगा. वो ऑटिज्म में क्या होता है वो डर होता है कि यार मैं मर गया तो. And I think the pandemic scared the crap out of us. That dude, what if I die tomorrow? Like here's a kid who may not be able to earn a rupee in his life. So the fear is not just financial, it's also emotional. That what if someone takes advantage of him emotionally? Or those are the things that mess with your head. So so there have been enough phases where and kids can be cruel, yeah. More than adults. So they can he'll face bullying, he'll face discrimination. ये सब तो मुझे अब हंसी आती है. Well, that's not shit that affects me anymore as much as it used to. But there'll be phases when you know you experience something like that. Or now he's 20. I mean, on New Year's Eve, he doesn't have friends. His friends are his parents. तो अगर उसको बाहर जाना हो 31st पे तो वो अपने मम्मी और पापा के साथ जाता है. And that's just heartbreaking. And he sees people his age out, hanging out, playing. So I see that. He may not have the language to express. So that shit is heartbreaking for him. Individually, what happens is, एक तो वो there's this whole मर्द पर दर्द नहीं होता narrative, which is stupid. And मैं तो फूट फूट के रोता हूँ यहाँ. It's embarrassing. Like in a movie, I'll cry buckets. My wife is embarrassing. What is wrong with you? It's a film. She's not really dead. I'm like, no, but how could she die? That kind of shit. Right? I mean, I cry in a book. I laugh in a book, right? So that kind of shit. So she can't get over it. But otherwise, you tend to be the strong guy. You want to be the provider, the protector, and that shit. So that can get lonely at times. At times, you will step back and say, the mom knows better. So you step back and say, but there are phases which you feel, for lack of phrases, I think there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And you can be lonely even in a crowd. You can be alone even in a crowd, and there's a difference. One is a choice, one is not, right? So and I'm completely unsocial, okay? I don't like hanging out. I may seem like I'm easy to talk to and all, but I'm not. I mean, I don't. I run away from social settings and things like that. It takes me a lot of effort, so there will be phases when you're not really able to kind of necessarily open up, share, and guys tend to do that, and even like women talk, right? When women like my wife has a lot of support system from her school friends to her college friends to the autism moms to her family to whatever else, right? I mean, she could talk to the Bible, and I can barely talk to myself. Like if I remember me telling my best friend, he's in New Jersey now, and I remember telling him about my own diagnosis. This was at age 50, So I said, dude, I've just been like, diagnosed, late diagnosis of autism, and sorry, can I swear? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. So so he's like, अरे गधे तू ऑटिस्टिक नहीं तो सिर्फ चूतिया है. So I'm like, you moron, तो दारू पी तो ठीक हो जाएगा. I said, you're mad or what? It doesn't work like that. So for shit like that, right? So even if you catch up with guys, they'll not be opening up and talking, and at times you just need that. At times you need that safe space, and unfortunately, still there's just so much stigma around therapy or around getting help. So there are phases where you do. I think all of us need that help to process that emotion, which is where at times it gets dark. But yeah, I guess like I said, my coping mechanism is humor, is my books, is my music. So and of course Risshan. I think that's just therapeutic. So yeah, you tend to do that. Sorry, long answer.
That's absolutely fine. You know, you said something so meaningful, I think, about masculinity, about strength. How has that definition for you now changed?
हम्म, यार बहुत डीप डीप सवाल पूछ रहे हो आप
Oh.
मुझे. uh, I don't know what's the kind of best way to articulate that. I think, I think there's a bit of a warped interpretation of masculinity,
Yeah.
just like parenthood. I think at times, I think that one narrative about protect, provide, I mean, वो hygiene है, but I think just being present, I think is a is a thing that then men need to learn. I don't know what I'm not being able to articulate it as clearly, but I think that masculinity in terms of just being the strong guy. I think that's what happened with Rishan. I think he made me more uh, human than man. Let me put it that way. I think वो जो man के उसमें वो जो hue उसके जो आगे होना चाहिए ना वो भूल गए. तो वो I think that's the very important part of, and which is many colors, like just like hue.
Yeah.
So there's so many hues, right? So I think just that. I think that is the understanding that men need to have, that you got to be human to be a man
Yeah.
first. I think that's what people tend to think that they're two separate things, and that's not really true. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel supported? Yeah, you made sense. Yeah. Do you feel supported? Did you feel supported in your journey? Or did you feel that you had to fight constantly with the systems, with the society, with the perceptions that exist around diagnosis?
uh, यार वो मतलब लाइफ में स्ट्रगल तो है ही ना हर चीज में, नहीं तो मजा क्या आएगा. तो वो तो ऑफ कोर्स, बट आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट मेक्स लाइफ अ लिटिल मोर फन. आई थिंक that's what makes it a little more interesting, exciting. Of course, there's a struggle. Of course, there's a fight. Of course, on the in the journey of neurodiversity, etc., there will always be a bunch of folks. I think fear, discrimination comes from just lack of awareness.
Yeah.
जो चीजें हमें समझ में नहीं आती उससे हम डरते हैं ना कि अरे ये कौन लोग हैं, ये कोई अलग कम्युनिटी के लोग यहाँ पे आ गए, ये लोग घर क्या करेंगे, ये करेंगे. तो नहीं अंडरस्टैंड, हाँ ये तो सेम है यार, ये तो अपने जैसा ही है. दैट्स वेयर, अच्छा हाँ ये इसको भी दर्द होता है, इसको भी हंसी आती है. You'll so I think that's one fundamental fight or struggle in generally on the system, and two, I think there are two types of people, Neha. एक वो जो रंडी रोना चलते रहता है उनका, ये खराब है, सिस्टम फ्लॉड है, ये गधा है, वो फलाना ढिमकाना एक्सेट्रा, विल कीप टॉकिंग अबाउट द प्रॉब्लम्स. एंड there's a second bunch which then wants to be part of the solution. I always prefer to be part of that. Write the book that you want to read. If it doesn't exist, don't keep writing. Get in and fix it. So I think that's always, I think that's what drove me to write that children's book that I did about autism. That's what drove me to do that band. That's what drove me to get out there and talk to people. We've always been very open about Rishan's diagnosis, about my own diagnosis, or all of that, or being around and just, if it's not working, get in there and fix it, man. Stop whining about it. Stop complaining. Start solving. I think that, तो वो हमेशा होगा. और वो यार वो आपको यू टू कीप, आपको यार आपकी हंसने के लिए वजह रोज ढूंढनी पड़ेगी, बिकॉज लाइफ आपको हर रोज रोने के लिए बहुत वजह देगा. तो यू चूज ना, अभी तुमको बैठ के रोना या फिर ए चल हट रे and laugh and you get, I mean, that's yes, of course there's that, but I mean that's life and that's cool. That's what makes it fun. I mean, I come from the world of storytelling, so I'll draw a parallel for you. All right, like I'll tell you a story. If the story was a boy met girl, they fell in love, they got married, and they were happy. No one wants to watch this.
Yeah.
This is a boring story. Okay. A boy met girl, they hated each other first. Then they got together. Then they fell in love. They wanted to get together. Then they found out their दोनों के पेरेंट्स 7 पुश्तों से झगड़ रहे हैं. ये शादी नहीं हो सकती. Will they come together? Romeo and Juliet, Ram Leela, Kayamat se Kayamat tak. Now you have a conflict, now you have a story. Or a story where boy met girl, girl met another boy. She fell in love with both of them. Who will she pick? Now we have a story. You know, boy met girl, girl met dog. She fell in love with both. Who will she pick? I mean, unless you have a conflict, you don't have a kahani.
Yeah.
You know? तो आई थिंक वो लाइफ है ना यार. कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं होगा तो कहानी में मजा ही नहीं आएगा. किसको देखना है? तो आई थिंक
Yeah. That's that's your side, but I also want to understand, how do you prepare your child for a world that isn't always designed for neurodivergent minds?
That's a daily process, right? So
Yeah.
I think the intention is to try and, I remember I'd written something about independence. It pops up every Independence Day, etc. And it spoke about me wanting freedom. Me wanting freedom from having to wash my son's hair every day. He's 20. Me wanting freedom from not having to party with him on 31st. Me wanting freedom from having to prepare his dawai. Not because I want that freedom, because I think he needs it. It's not the parallel of Risshan not wanting me. It's the parallel of Risshan not needing me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that independence is actually technically what I want for him. So you work towards trying to equip him with all the tools, the resources, to be able to navigate what seems like not necessarily a very neurodivergence friendly world. You do that, and Chakkar is, he may not have the complete cognition to be able to also do that. So then you just, equip him to be able to be his authentic self. And ideally I'm pretty much what every parent does, वो बच्चे को यार, if you give, I'm vegetarian, but I'll draw a parallel of, if you give a kid a fish, he'll eat for a day. You teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. I think it's just that, right? So you teach him how to navigate that to the best of his abilities on his own, to be honest, to be kind, to stay positive, and and being honest also means being honest about your own challenges, not about trying to hide them or hide behind a mask. And I think that's the mistake I made, Neha, that जब मैं छोटा, I didn't understand autism. जब मैं probably when I was a teenager or whatever, I ignored it, and as I got older, I learned how to mask it really well. And I realized the mistake I made was I was really not being kind to myself. But I think step one really starts on anything with acceptance. I think just accepting that, so I've learned to be a lot more kind to myself. Like if a large social setting is not something that's comfortable for me, I will not fight it. And now I don't need to make an excuse saying, no, I am traveling or whatever. Like truth be told, the family trip that's happening, it's not something I was comfortable with. I don't want to go with 120 people. It's too overwhelming for me. I'll be like, no, I can't make it. And now people understand. My wife understands. So earlier I would push myself and I'm being just shut down for like 72 hours after that. And that just was brutal on me. So I think just helping him equip himself with the tools to be able to process that, like Risshan is very sensory sensitive. तो अब वो चीजें जो होती है जो आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हो, चीजें जो होती है आप इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हो, बट देयर इज अ लार्ज चंक व्हिच यू कैन नाइदर कंट्रोल और इन्फ्लुएंस. अब यहाँ पे गणपति फेस्टिवल या दिवाली, वो पटाखे फूटेंगे यहाँ पे बंबई में. You can't stop anyone. You can shut your windows and then you can wear headphones which are noise cancelling and deal with it. I think you have to learn how to shut off that noise. If there are things that are bothering you, don't go. Learn how to cope with that. I think so that's what one does. Whatever you can influence, you influence by creating the awareness, sharing the information, telling them that you're struggling with this, so to please stop doing that. And if they listen, great. If not, you can't change the others, so you've got to find a way to do that for yourself. That's, I think, what we try and do. at least with Risshan. It works sometimes, often it doesn't, and that's okay. That's how we learn. So that's
Yeah.
cool. That's life.
And he has a YouTube channel and a buzzing Instagram page. How did that begin?
Oh, dude, it was fun. So this actually literally happened in the lockdown,
Hmm.
like 2020. Like we were like, who would have expected? Right? It's literally one day after my birthday. So suddenly 21 days lockdown. So just for a lark, we were at home. So I said, "Chalo, 21-day challenge." Me and Rishan, we will put out one song every day.
Hmm.
So घर पे मैं और Rishan, this used to be me and like Papa time. That every day we shot one song and we put it out. And we did that for fun. तो Rishan गाना गाता था, मैं shoot करता था, I would cut it and put it out. So I started his YouTube channel literally on like 25th March. All right. And it suddenly took off. Like it just exploded. I was like, what? Really? It's not like I'm advertising it or sharing it, nothing. We were just doing it for ourselves, fun. And it just and then it became fun for us.
Yeah.
So by now, over the last few years, we must have put out over 500 songs.
Wow.
So it's nuts. And then, I started having fun, he started having fun. It became so every time we would travel, और मेरा दिमाग प्रोड्यूसर का है, तो कहीं हम लोग छुट्टी पे जा रहे हैं, तो he'll be like, अरे free location. So चलो, so now prep, you'll shoot that. So then Rishan also started getting excited. No, which song are we going to shoot? Let me carry the clothes for that. So we started doing that. Then it became fun. So then I would say, now I'm traveling with just my immediate family. So just my in-laws or just my parents or whatever. So now we'll shoot with them. Or his cousins are meeting. So now they would shoot with him. So we started shooting dance videos and fun shit and it just became fun. And it just, and because we were so open about his autism, it suddenly popped up, started going out. A couple of things just, मतलब वो फटी एक दो गाने videos. We started and I realized कि किसी को भाषण नहीं सुनना नेहा, लेकिन कहानी सुनाओ, गाना सुनाओ ना, your firewalls go down. So we started doing that. So I started doing comedy sketches with Risshan because he's inherently funny. We started doing some random stand-up shit. So we started putting that out about awareness about autism or the fun that comes with the term. So that started like kind of photoing in like kind of strange ways. Just literally like 3 days back, he was at this do for special hangout, which is like a autism community, and he did some random like on stage he's dancing to the Marathi song. That reel's gone to some 2.5 million views. I was like, who are these people? What is happening? It was just nuts. So I think that just started happening and it started popping up and people started reaching out to him to perform.
Oh, wow.
So he got paid for a bunch of gigs, like
Wow.
performing for corporates, performing for like a doctor's conclave, and it goes into his pizza fund, which is great. So but I mean, he was really really happy. So it just boosted his self confidence. It became a tool to be able to give him something kind of meaningful to do. It's also a fun activity for me and him. So we just started doing that and having fun. And I think that's his calling. So that's also the kind of path that one is hoping to. Since I've seen that over the last few years, that A, this is something that he's good at.
Yeah.
B, it's something that he really likes. And C, it could be something that could also literally like give him some money. It's not like this is what should uska ghar se nahi chalega, but it will give him that self confidence, self esteem boost of he can earn pocket money.
Yeah.
And D, if I use this as a tool to create awareness, you got literally that ikigai falling into place
Yeah.
of the fall. So that's what happened, and that's really the, so to speak, trajectory or career path that one is hoping to kind of build out for him. So that's it happened by accident in a sense. It's stuff that we were anyway doing, but it just got some structure. So now that's what one is hoping to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But tell me, Ashish, like honestly, does it really increase awareness or is it just for fun for people?
Absolutely does, Neha. It absolutely does. Like I said, see, my exposure to autism was not from a book.
Yeah.
It was from Rain Man. However flawed it may have been, I'd never heard of the word. More people know about dyslexia so Tare Zameen Par than anything else.
Yeah.
And people may mistake Tare Zameen Par dyslexia with autism or whatever else, and that's fine. But at least the conversation, because like I said, किसी को भाषण नहीं सुनना है, Neha. But kahani sunao, gaane sunao, that word gets out there. And you don't want to limit it to the community. The awareness should be sitting outside. So I think that's what it really does. And that's always been my tool, storytelling, entertainment, and that's how we've all learned everything in life, no?
Yeah.
Through nursery rhymes, through stories that grandmom told us. through books.
Yeah.
So it certainly does, and I've seen that play out. The amount of people, like I was telling you about this book that I did. The reason I
Yes.
did that was also, I mean, this is that Goldie Boy book that I spoke to
Yes.
you about, right?
Yes.
So I did this a couple of years back with Harper, and the amount of people who, again, like I said, either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution, and you write the book that you want to read. There were
Yeah.
no books introducing kids to autism.
Yeah.
There were two types of books. Either एक वो, textbook, academic, theoretical, or this very tragic, like, अरे मेरी तो जिंदगी बर्बाद हो गई, sad song, violin playing. You're like, it's a really fun, colorful world. And the sooner, the earlier you learn, the easier it is to accept
Yeah.
and engage. So, and there was nothing like this. So, I did a really fun, colorful, happy children's book with Billie Eilish, Bappi Lahiri, all of that. Dhoom
Yeah.
Machale, all of that, that kind of thing. So, the amount of people who reached out, who say, I felt seen, I felt heard,
Yeah.
or forget anything else. Like, now I understand that there's this kid in my classroom is exactly like this. Or now I know why this boy in my office who sits alone for lunch. और मेरे चाचा बिल्कुल ऐसे हैं. So I think, and this, this book is still on, because there are less than 30 books like this in the world. It's unlike a very traditional children's book. It's most children's books are like 24 pages, 40 pages. This is like, it's like a coffee table book. It's big, and it's 120 pages. Okay, it's hand drawn illustrations, it's done by a school teacher from Noida. It's gorgeous. So it's very accessible. So it still comes back after 2-3 years on what Harper calls the backlist.
Yeah.
So it keeps coming back. Every Autism Awareness Month, every Children's Day, every World Disability Month, it kind of keeps popping back, which is great. So this is just one example. This band that I did called the Six Pack Band. And so we did a bunch of like 6 songs, 6 music videos. It had like Vishal, like I said, Dadlani, or Neha Kakkar. It had Tiger Shroff, Mika Singh, a bunch of folks, right? So what I did, Neha, is also got it out there to so many more people. That also led to, so much more awareness of Acha. Like I'll give you an example of the Vishal Dadlani song. We did a remix of Dil To Pagal Hai. Now why? It was very deliberate. Because क्या होता है इस community में काफी लोग अरे ये तो पागल है. It is such a buzzword. It's used so loosely. So I wanted to flip that and turn that into a positive. That हाँ यार अगर लोगों को जज नहीं करना पागलपन है तो हाँ मैं पागल हूँ. अगर लोगों दोस्ती सीख करना with everyone पागलपन है तो हाँ मैं पागल हूँ. तो क्या करें? दिल तो पागल है. And then we did that. So I think just that is what really got the message and word out, and that's the reason like Risshan's been pulled in to perform. And when they see that, man, this kid can sing, but clearly he's different. But अलग का मतलब कम नहीं है, अलग है. Different is not less. I think just that, to get out there on a stage and to see that, it's only when you, like, anyone Risshan has interacted with Neha has changed forever. And I would say changed for the better. Like there are at least 3, Rishan's always had a shadow teacher in school, a paraprofessional. Like these are teachers, some of them who came in just for a side hustle for extra pocket money. But just that engagement with him for a year changed their like career trajectories. Like there's a girl who went abroad to study neurodiversity, and she's now the principal in a special school in Canada.
Wow.
I mean, that's just, it's incredible, right? So what it does. So, I mean, and these are just 3-4 examples, and there are, like, it changed me. Like, I didn't have the language for it. I always felt, like I said, in social settings, uncomfortable. So, which is why I'm like, like father, like son. In my case, it was like son, like father. So, it's through Rishan's lived experience that I realized that, हाँ यार, I feel the same way. हाँ, मुझे भी इसकी तकलीफ होती है. It's not like I wanted a label. I just wanted clarity. So, I got my late diagnosis thanks to him. It changed me because of that. And it made me more comfortable to be able to accept myself.
Yeah.
And it's also seeing this. It's only when, you interact with Risshan, or you do that, is where you will learn to be a lot more patient, you'll learn to be a lot more empathetic over a period of time with everyone else. सब अलग है यार. Everyone has their own. Autism is just one example. Everyone has their own challenges, and everyone faces discrimination. या तो आप मोटे हो, या बुढ़े हो, या गरीब हो, या आप हिंदू हो, आप मुस्लिम हो, that the world is so divided today.
Yeah.
I think this teaches you that, and I think this is just a stand-in. Autism is just a stand-in for a difference. That difference could be anything. So I think putting it out this way has certainly, I would say, helped awareness
Yeah.
and helped acceptance, and it doesn't have to impact a million people. If it does, it's fantastic. If it's
Yeah.
impacted one person, it is enough.
Yeah.
And I can certainly count more than one person overall that we've done over these last few years. I think
Wow.
just that. Yeah.
Yeah. You spoke about shadow teachers, so I want to talk about the education system. How was it navigating the traditional education system with Risshan?
डैम हार्ड यार फट गई यार मतलब आई गेस हम एज पेरेंट्स ना नेहा हम भी वो गलती करते हैं ना वो हम हमारे सपनों का बोझ ना अपने बच्चों पे दबा देते हैं दैट यार मेरा बेटा तो रॉक स्टार बनेगा वो तो ग्रैमी जीतेगा ऑस्कर जीतेगा he'll be a nuclear physicist or whatever, that kind of, which is stupid. I think putting the pressure of your aspirations or your dreams onto your child is a big mistake parents make.
Yeah.
You know, so initially when he was in the a traditional school, uh, inclusive, but over a period of time with a shadow teacher, it just that gap started widening.
Yeah.
It just started getting harder and harder for him, and I think I realized that we were doing him a disservice. I think you have to put him in an environment where he flourishes and he's nourished, versus like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. I think we needed to find a place that built a star-shaped peg around him.
Yeah.
तो वो जो पहले था, the schools were very kind. I think the play school is where we first diagnosed autism. Then he went to BD Sumani, which was an IB school. He was very happy. He loved going there. But it just started getting, as academic pressure started going up, the gap started widening. And it was not fair to him. So the teachers advised us, the principal advised that we can keep him in for another year. But if you really want to do what's best for him, take him out. Put him in a special school. And initially, यार हम तो बाहर आके फूट फूट के रोए थे कि यार failure, you feel you're responsible, you're guilty, आपका fault है, etc. And then realized, no, that's wrong. I think, and then we put him in the right special school, and I think that's where he really grew. And I think that गलत filter of आपके aspirations की वजह से आप उसको judge कर रहे हो, वो जो गलत था. तो I think वो, and now I realize कि यार जो मैं सोच रहा था मेरा बेटा रॉकस्टार बनेगा वो तो ऑलरेडी है, सिर्फ अलग रॉकस्टार है, अलग टाइप का रॉकस्टार है. तो सो वो that is what was that shift that we needed. And I think that special school also, see, again, the infra or the support system just doesn't exist in our country.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist in the world. He's been lucky to have some very, very kind people, teachers, shadow teachers who've been understanding, supportive. And like I've always said, जो नहीं है तो तुम बनाओ यार, तो तुम करो. So which is why, for example, my wife must have trained, I don't know how many shadow teachers. Like there would be people who would come to her to help other kids then. So, like the school would say, why don't you just, coach these people? Or you come in and show how to shadow for 1 week. And she would go in. And she would do that because then she would also get to observe Risshan and see what's best and see what's happening. And along the way also then teach the others. There's shit like that, right? So wasn't easy. But I think there's a lovely line I had heard, Neha kahin par, that, if the kid is not learning the way you're teaching, you've got to teach the way they learn.
Yeah.
That most schools haven't figured out. ये जो IEP individualized education program की बात करते हैं ना, वो झूठ है. It doesn't exist. So I think just finding that, and also यार वो industrial revolution के time के जो हमारे curriculum जो set हैं, because that time math and arithmetic and language, I mean those are the things that mattered, science and all of those things, and everything else, music and arts, were extracurricular.
Yeah.
You can't be a writer for a living, bro. Matter what, dude. Living example, So I think just finding that your own groove is what the education system is still not geared for. Like today, if like I learned trigonometry and econometrics, and I've never used it in a single day in my life.
Yeah.
And it's fine, but the social skills or the softer skills that you pick up, organizational behavior, so those are the things that you use every day that will make sure that the office boy brings your chai before you bring someone else's, or your material gets photocopied before anyone else's does, or you're able to help a fresher fit in. I mean, those are the things that matter. I think so those are skills, and finding your own journey. I think that our education system is still not equipped for, but it's far better than it used to be. And I think just the sheer awareness and understanding is what is helping do that. So yes, it was tough for Ishan, but he's come such a long way.
Yeah.
And you can't outsource that special education. It
Yeah.
will always have to be a tripod of school, medical and external support, and the parent.
Yeah.
वो तीनों साथ में तभी होगा. And that's true not of special needs kids. That's true for everyone.
Yeah.
वो तुम आउटसोर्स नहीं कर सकते बच्चा पालना.
Yeah.
नैनी नहीं बड़ा करेगी उसको, वो नहीं होगा.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to understand, has your way of life changed since becoming a father?
Yes, certainly. I would say earlier, because see, I've always been in the media entertainment business, advertising, 12 years running MTV, Yash Raj Films, all of that. So life was just, I would say, faster, louder, way more restless. You're an adrenaline junkie, right? I think the fundamental shift was it's simpler. As you may think it's more complicated, yeah, no, it's simpler. There's less noise, there's fewer people, but there's definitely more meaning and more presence. I think what happens is parenting, and especially autism parenting, it kind of forces you to slow down. वो स्पीड बम्स आते रहते हैं, तो आपका लाइफ ना इमोशनली एक्सपैंड करता है और सोशली कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करता है, और वो दुनिया का सबसे बेस्ट एक्सचेंज ऑफर है. I think just that, I would say, is the big shift. Expanding patience, expanding empathy. It expands your perspective. It definitely contracts your ego. Movie business, so you're used to credits, na? Produced by, directed by. It's the only business where you have credit rolls. कोई गाड़ी के manufacturing में कभी नहीं होता. It contracts your urgency. And for someone who's always in a hurry, like, hey, come on, let's go. Mumbai में life में सब लोग को जल्दी होती है. Horns, traffic. It forces you, like, no matter, I may be, and I'm very paranoid about not being on time. But with Risshan, I just have to wait. I just have to, no. Until he goes in and out of the room with his OCDs 35 times and switches the light and fan on and off 27 times, he won't leave. He's not leaving until he's done. So I just have to, koi baat nahi, baitho. Like, it used to be this thing of, productivity, efficiency, that every minute I'm going to be like busy or occupied or learning or growing. कि मैं ऑफिस भी जा रहा हूँ, गाड़ी में टेड टॉक सुन रहा हूँ. अबे chill यार. So you learn to, let go of artificially created urgency. It also contracts the bullshit. Yeah. You realize what are you doing, bro, with your life? You're not, finding a cure for cancer. तो ऐसा कुछ उखाड़ नहीं रहा है. Chill. But if you're there for your child, that is way more valuable than anything else.
Yeah.
So it contracts that nonsense, the bullshit around you as well. So I think that's, I would say, life became smaller on the outside, but it became richer on the inside. I think that's what I would say.
So beautiful. Yeah. And you also said something which is very interesting for me, that it also, the autism marriage. Talk to me about that. How things shifted, evolved, moved in your marriage with the diagnosis.
It was very hard, yeah, Neha. Very, very hard. It's autism takes over your life, yeah. Like I said, initially I'm guilty of running away. I was in denial and I ran away. That was, I have no excuses for that. I feel terrible about that. And like I said, you can't outsource. Sheetal, if she had continued working the way she was, she's a chartered accountant and a very, very bright. She's the brain. I'm the heart. In that sense. So it was just assumed that, अगर career पे hit लेना है तो तुम ही लोगे ना, मैं थोड़ी ना घर पे बैठ सकता हूँ. And that's stupid. Like, she would have been far more successful, far more, we would have been far more wealthier and all of that financially, had she continued working and all of that. But that's stupid. And there somewhere there will be a certain amount of, what's the right word? resentment because of that, that would come in, understandable. To it takes away your life.
Yeah.
Like that's hard on the relationship, because even at date night, even if you're deliberate about date nights, you'll be talking about, अरे आज पता है ऋषभ ने क्लास में क्या कर दिया, सिर्फ ने उस पे थूक दिया. I'm like, अबे तेरी तो. Or you're talking about classes or your therapy, or like, अरे I read about this new medicine, why don't you check it out? Or no, I have an appointment with this doctor, why don't you, what do you think, how should we prep for it? Like, it just takes away your life, so it gets hard. And I turned to the worst possible things, besides work, in terms of addictions, etc., which was crap. But I think it's also, if you're able to navigate that, it will make you far stronger. It'll bring you closer in, it's like trauma bonding.
Yeah.
वो trauma bonding होती है यार कि बॉस. तो अब हम लोग दोनों जाके हंसते हैं कि if there's some parent talking about यार it's like poor people laughing at rich people's problems. Bro, ये anxiety अमीरों के चोचले होते हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. That kind of thing. What? Like first world problems and all shit. Like, my kid, like, the horse was unwell, so he couldn't get his riding class today. I said, "You're fucking mad or what? Today I'm just happy Risshan didn't spit on someone in the lift." What's wrong with you? We are high-fiving each other, we're celebrating and all. What is wrong with you people? So shit like that. So it also brings you close, So initially it was very, very hard. Like I ran away. It took its toll, but I think over a period of time, it's also what got us close. It also trauma bonded us. It also, we learned to divide and rule in that sense, or more than divide and rule, learn to navigate that. Like I said, it's a tag team. It's not a 50-50. ये अच्छा, like a morning routine. कि boss, डब्बा तू पैक करेगी, रिशान को मैंने लाऊंगा. इसको उठाऊंगा मैं, लेकिन बेड से बाहर तू खींचेगी. So it's just a break it up. Okay, you do the academics for all it's worth from the school, the entertainment, art, culture shit, which is his other thing in his class, in his curriculum, that I'll do. So just that whole split was great. And then I think over a period of time, I guess one also learned that you have to be also very conscious, because autism can take over your life, that you are deliberate to carve out both me time and we time. And then to make it a rule that, boss, अगर डे टाइम पे जाएंगे ना, no autism, no Risshan. Like I will fine you otherwise. You have to give me $100 every time I गलती से मैंने बोल दिया. नहीं, एक मिनट ये तो सुन. अरे नहीं सुनूंगा. But I think just being deliberate about that, to carve out the time for yourself, for each other. I think just that. So there are times then we've learned to, otherwise you're also like out of that responsibility and duty, उसको अकेला नहीं छोड़ेंगे. But now we're like, fine, that no, we have to. My parents are now moved in with me. So I was like, no, we'll leave him alone for our own sanity. Like you can't fill from an empty bottle. So I think so to leave him alone and let him be. If he's going to sit and watch YouTube for 3 hours for Saturday night, let him. But you to go out and do whatever shit you want to. So I think just being that, or like, no, Friday night we will just watch something mindless. We don't have to involve him on playing Scrabble. If he wants to come, he'll come. Otherwise, screw it. We will. Shit like that. So I think just we've not been very successful on some of these things, but trying to at least take a trip for just the two of us, even if it is 1 night or 2 nights, even if it's just go from Bombay to Lonavala and come back. Otherwise, there was always guilt, yaar, कि यार Risshan होता तो उसको मजा आता. There's a ride over here, horse ride, he would have enjoyed it. Like, no, forget it. We'll go with them separately. This is just you and me. Let's go do some shit. And it's crazy, Neha, right? So every birthday, like there's a sensory overload for it. It's very tough for him to handle some of these things. So inevitably on every birthday, which is either my birthday or his mom's birthday, he always has a meltdown. So every birthday inevitably gets kind of soiled. We've learned to make peace with that. And it's okay. So but then you say, it doesn't matter. We'll celebrate the next day or the next weekend. And see, both me and Sheetal are teetotalers. All right. But there was this one particular birthday which was just so hard that both of us just decided to go and said, we need a drink. We don't even know what to drink. किसी को पूछते हैं इसके साथ क्या मिलाते हैं. It was bizarre. We just said, someone get us something to drink. We don't know what to have. So like stupid people, and then like, and I was driving. I was like, no, leave the freaking car and let's just take an Uber back. And it was just stupid, But you do that, and now we've learned to kind of to work through that and then carve out the time for ourselves.
Yeah.
Me time, we time, and then of
Yeah.
course rich time. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I also want to talk about something that you keep referring to. You say that you ran away, you were in denial and all of that. How did you come back?
Uh, I think यार वो ये some of these things you don't learn from a masterclass.
Yeah.
You not from any TED talk or any book. You learn from experience.
Yeah.
Like when shit goes down, na, I mean, your family and these are the people who are the only people who will be around. That's what will ground you. That's what will root you. And I think I needed to get knocked around a little outside. I think that's essentially. I would say I turned back more for myself
Yeah. Yeah.
than them. As selfish as that sounds,
Yeah.
and I think that's what helped, and that kind of is what brought me back, grounded me, rooted me, helped me find myself in a sense. I would say that's what probably brought me back, and being there and doing that is also I think made me uh, find myself, complete myself, or like I said, see, मैं तो काफी unsocial आदमी हूँ. वो it takes a village to raise this, but मेरे गांव वाले बहुत कम है. It's but you realize that quality beats crowd. So I think that's essentially what brought me back and helped me, uh, and then being able to also help also helps you.
Right.
Right. So I think it became a nice infinite loop, and which is what a family is meant to be, na.
Yeah.
जब भी मेरी लगेगी तो तू देख लेना, जब तेरी लगेगी तो मैं हूँ. Tag
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. And have you struggled with guilt?
All the time. Absolutely. And guilt and shame, they are very tough emotions to process extensively. And I think every parent is a guilty parent. We always thinking, na, they are not good enough. And it's okay. You're doing, मतलब कोई user manual है नहीं ना यार parenting के साथ. You're literally learning on the job. तो वो I so I think that's one thing that parents have to learn, or that you're not messing it up.
Yeah.
You're not failing. You're just learning life.
Yeah.
तुम रियल टाइम ऐसे सीख रहे हो. इट्स ओके. तुम ऐसा वो स्विमिंग भी सीखना हो ना, तो वो ऑनलाइन नहीं सीख सकते. वो पानी में घुसना पड़ेगा. गीला होना पड़ेगा. आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट दैट. I think just knowing that you're not failing. So that fear of the future, fear of judgment, fear of failure as a parent is what you gotta. I think that's what brings you the guilt. I think it's all my actions that brought me the shame. I think those are things that you learn to process over a period of time. I think at times forgiving others is a lot easier than forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
तो आई थिंक वो भी आप करना फिर. आई एम स्टिल लर्निंग. बट सो वो आप धीरे धीरे होपफुली you'll get there. you know yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about other fathers specifically, as you said, mothers have a lot of, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the gender, if it's I don't know what it is, but mothers generally have a more open support system than fathers do. And as a father, what do you wish other fathers were told earlier?
You're right. It is a gender thing, Neha. That whole narrative that has been built out is and not just unique to India. I've seen that. I'm reasonably well connected in the autism community, so I see that across. The refusal to get help, to refusal to acknowledge that you need help. I think that's where the process of kind of help that you get for yourself is just stupid. So I think I would say probably that एक फादर को तो कोई किसी को मेमो मिला नहीं था. So आई थिंक वो एक गलत फ्लॉड अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी फादरहुड की कि आपका काम ना पैसे कमाना है, अर्न पैसा, और कभी कभी प्ले द बैड कॉप, डांट देना, पापा को बोल दूंगी, दैट शिट, एंड मम्स आल्सो यूज दैट एक्सेट्रा, दो द एक्चुअल फियर मे बी फ्रॉम द मदर, but that's often used, right? And I don't think you thought that was enough to be the provider and kind of the protector, and that's not. I think I would probably find a way to kind of share, say, the 5 P's of papahood, essentially. I think the first most important thing I would say is presence. I say that from experience because मैं भाग गया. I think your fundamental job is not just being perfect, it's being present. कि यार एकदम नॉर्मल ऐसा, and not present for parent teacher meeting, annual day, sports day. Present when there's nothing happening. Sunday afternoon, cuddling. That's all. Not when some kid is crying and he's broken scraped his knee, or he's been bullied. No, just being there when nothing happened. Because ordinary Sunday can be extraordinary as a milestone. I think so. Presence, one. Two, I would say protection, of course. But सिर्फ दुनिया से नहीं, लेबल से, गलत ज्ञान से, that लोग क्या कहेंगे itis, which India has, na? And most importantly from yourself. I think people have to realize that the most dangerous places now are not outside, they're inside you. सबसे खतरनाक जगह आपके अंदर है. वो that hey, shit, I've screwed up, I can't do this. Protection from that. Three, I would say play. And play without goals. जीतने के लिए नहीं, हारने के लिए नहीं, खेलने के लिए. That's how you play life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think without worrying about the outcome, and in play you teach how to deal with हारे तो क्या होगा. More importantly, जीते तो क्या होगा. And again, I can tell you from experience, like, the entertainment business is a very glamorous business on the outside, and that can go to your head. I've seen that happen to the best of people. Learning to deal with that is so important, and that's an extreme on steroids version of fame, fortune, etc. But that happens everywhere. How it brings you arrogance, how it brings you ego, how it changes you. I think so. Learning to play, being the safe playmate for your child. So I would say that presence, protection, play. I would say प्यार. और ये फादर्स के लिए बहुत जरूरी है. हम लोग यार बाप लोग ना वो लव अज्यूम करते हैं. हाँ पता है ना उसको, बर्थडे गिफ्ट तो दी, आ तो गया, दिखाना पड़ता है यार. वो बोलना पड़ता है. इट्स वेरी हार्ड फॉर men often to express. It is extremely hard for fathers. And for autistic fathers, oh my God, it's practically impossible. Right? You need to, and not just like through a gift, you'll have to say it. I think wo. And of course, I think paisa. I think
Yeah.
respected, it's one of the 5 P's, not the main thing. I think respecting that, not worshipping that, because that paisa, whether you like it or not, will bring you independence, will bring you self-esteem, will enable you to get things. I was just talking to someone about anyone who says now that you can't buy love, वो कभी बुक स्टोर में गया नहीं है. you know, you can't buy love. Walk into a bookstore. You know what I'm saying? So I think what money will do for your self-esteem, for your confidence, for your independence. I think, but knowing that that's not all of it, that's one of the 5 things. I think these 5 things, I would say, probably are the important piece on the memo of fatherhood. Not just autism fatherhood, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Coming specifically to an autism dad, early diagnosis, I would say one is going to get better. It will get better. It may also get worse on days, but it will overall get better. Two, get help. तू अकेले नहीं कर सकता, करना पड़ेगा और हेल्प लानी पड़ेगी, मांग, शर्मा मत. एंड मैन एट टाइम डोंट वांट टू सीक दैट हेल्प, गेट इट. थ्री, बी देयर यार, ये आउटसोर्स नहीं कर सकते या अकेला नहीं छोड़ सकते. Get in, get your hands dirty, hit the water. You know, find your me time, find your me time, take care of your partner. I think that's also really important. So I think these are the other things, but it will get better. And otherwise, these 5 P's should be a probably a good hack. I wish
Yeah.
someone told me that earlier.
Wow. Wow. And tell me, Ashish, when you think about Rishan's future, what gives you hope?
Ah, बहुत डर लगता है नेहा, I'll be honest. I think that an autism parent's fear is or concerns are very different from a neurotypical parent's. The fear
Yeah.
is like I said, no, ki what if I die tomorrow and here's a kid who may not be able to take care of himself. He may get cheated, forget financially, emotionally. That's scary. So we are at that stage where we're seeking out assisted living options. Where, like, say honestly, and I learned this from Risshan, कि मेरी खुद की लाइफ में जरूरतें इतनी कम है. Like if I don't buy a pair of clothes for the rest of my life, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less. The only reason I continue to work and work hard is so that I can build out a corpus for him to make sure I can give him at least a comfortable, if not a luxurious life.
Yeah.
So again, I did the smart thing. I married a CA. So we've planned out some of those things in terms of building out a trust for Ishan, and not just because he doesn't have any siblings. Even if he had a sibling, it's unfair to expect anything more out of a
Yeah.
sibling, right? So building out that corpus and putting the right pieces in place so that financially is taken care of. Otherwise, physically, emotionally, finding a assisted living option. There aren't enough good ones in our country. So trying to find that. Uh, so what? Those are the things that keep me up at night, keep us up at night. But what gives me hope is the fact that Rishan is a good person.
Hmm.
वो अच्छा इंसान है. आई थिंक उसका कर्मा न्यूट्रल है यार, जीरो है, झूठ नहीं बोलता, आता ही नहीं है,
Hmm.
किसी का बुरा सोचता नहीं है, आता ही नहीं है.
Hmm.
जेलेसी वेलेसी एक्सपीरियंसेस उसको, वो इमोशंस ही नहीं है, वो
Hmm.
आते ही नहीं है उसको.
Hmm.
So I think that positive karma in that sense gives me hope
Yeah.
that he will, and he's always positively impacted anyone he's interacted with or
Yeah.
anyone who's engaged with him. I think that comes back in very strange ways. I think, and that's what he's changed in us as people,
Yeah.
as parents, as individuals. So I think us being able to do that, be it that's what driving me to create that band or write that book or be open about it or talk about it, have a conversation like this, which also adds back into awareness, not just for the community, but for the larger footprint. That shit comes back to you.
Yeah.
Well, people say karma is a bitch, but karma is also a really loving puppy.
Hmm.
It also comes back like that. And you'll get the dog reference so much more,
Yeah.
right? Unconditional love. I mean, that's what comes back. So I think that shit will come back to Rishan, which gives me hope, which gives me कि ये इतने अच्छा ही किया है तो
Hmm.
अच्छा ही होगा.
Hmm.
And I think the fact that now that we are kind of being very, and most people don't think about this, ये कुछ नहीं होगा.
Hmm.
You have to plan. I think the pandemic did that for us, to start planning, to start thinking. And the fact that we're doing that, we're putting those systems in place, be it a trust fund of sorts, be it the corpus, or be it the assisted living option. The fact that we started thinking about it, planning for that, putting that ecosystem in place, and Rishan's own karma, etc., are the pieces which hopefully will come together. And I still have time, so I
Yeah.
I hopefully I found my enough very early.
Hmm.
But I think parenthood recalibrates your definition of enough, right? And autism parenthood substantially changes that, rewires it quite a bit. But I think I'm there. So I think being able to get to a stage where we are in a comfortable space is where then I want to dive full time into just building out that Rishan's graph of music, uh,
Yeah.
neurodiversity, etc., which will not just give him a meaningful engine, but also others. I think that's
Yeah.
stuff that gives me hope,
Yeah.
and not just hope. It gives me a lot of happiness,
Wow.
and और मेरा यार default ना नेहा optimism है.
Hmm.
मेरा वो सुपर पावर है. My wife thinks it's a flaw. I think it's a feature.
Yeah.
She's a CA, right? So she's auditing and say, ये गलत है, ये गड़बड़ है. Like, नहीं. I not just because it's too late for me to change. I don't want to. I think that's
Yeah.
just a better way to live or to be. And I think that मतलब that thing of एक क्या ही होगा
Hmm.
देख लेंगे ना. I think that's
Hmm.
helped me get ahead or deal with so much shit in my life. That's kept me alive. So I think just that also is what gives me hope that क्या ही होगा देख लेंगे यार कर लेंगे हम तो करते हैं ना यार and then I'll do it. You don't
Yeah.
just talk about it, and that's what, like I said, you you be on the side of solving versus whining. So you do
Yeah.
that. That's what, if this community doesn't exist to create content with neurodivergent folks, I'll make it.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And my last question for you for today, if you could leave our listeners with one truth about parenting, especially parenting neurodivergent children, what would it be?
Hmm. Uh, I think it applies to both, Neha. Like, the impact, the beauty, the joy, all of that, no? That magic, that doesn't lie in those big milestones. That magic lives in tiny moments. गुलजार साहब का बहुत अच्छा गाना था कि छोटी छोटी बातें में है यादें बड़ी. तो वो छोटी बातों में that's that's where joy is hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
So kids don't need things. They need time.
Hmm.
They need presence. They need and that's also what you need.
Hmm.
Like parents, your child doesn't need a perfect parent. He needs a
Yeah.
present one.
Hmm.
And I think ये जो आपका सक्सेस जो आप ऑफन चेस करते हो, व्हाट एवर योर डेफिनेशंस आर, आप कई बार एक्सटर्नल पैसों में, डेजिग्नेशंस में, साइज ऑफ द हाउस, मेक ऑफ द कार, हाउ फैंसी योर डेजिग्नेशन, उसमें जो आप मेजर करते हो ना, आई थिंक you have to learn to measure it in memories versus in money. And I think that's the real job description that no one was given, but that's what we have to learn. I think that's, if at all, my two bits.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Ashish, thank you so much.
Not at
Thank
all.
you for
Thank you
the
so much.
humor. Thank you
Sorry,
for
that's
the
my
honesty.
default. So they didn't hire me only for my good looks.
Waiting for writing and for amplifying
Of course.
Rishan's voice.
Of course.
Yeah. And to everyone listening, if this episode moved you, please share it. Share it. Share it with a parent who might find the need. Oh God, I'm tearing up. It was just so beautiful. But share it with a parent who might need to feel less alone. And you can also explore Rishan's YouTube and Instagram pages to see his world through his own lens. And do look up Ashish's children's book. All proceeds support a center for autism, which makes this more than storytelling. It makes an impact. You can find all the details in the show notes. This is Parenthood. I'm Neha Garg. See you next week. Bye bye.